This time we'll start with the JavaScript example. So I've added a new button to our page. I've added in the click event handler. I've added in the implementation of the click event handler. And in here I basically copied the code from the last example. A few small changes. One, I've set a row limit, so we won't get any more than 5 items returned in the result set. And instead of using the load method to load the items object, I'm using load query. And I'm specifying that I want to get the title, units in stock, and unit price fields back. And then finally down here, right now at least, I'm just writing out the length of the result set coming back. So if I hit F5 and then click the data binding button, you can see we get the title of the site, and then we had 5 items returned. All right, now I mentioned that we're going to use a JavaScript templating library called JSRender. So let's go get that. So I'll just open up a new tab here. We'll go to Google. We'll search for JSRender. There it is. It's in GitHub. And you can download a bunch of files using the zip, but really the only thing that we need right now is the jsrender.js. So I've downloaded this and I've got that file. So let's come back to our Visual Studio project. And we'll put it in the scripts folder. So I'll right click here and choose to add an existing item. And there's JSRender. And then to get IntelliSense throughout our project for this library, we can just add a reference to it here in the underscore references file. So this is jsrender.js. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add a template into our page. Now, obviously, this course is not on JSRender. There is a JSRender course in the library. So I'm not going to cover this in detail. I'm just going to give you the basics. So let me come back up to our header here and then add in our template. So notice it's a script tag, but the type is set to text /xjsrender. And then inside of here, we have some markup combined with some template. So this for is setting up a for loop, and the pound data is the current item. So I'm going to pass in an object that's going to populate this template, and in here, that is going to be the object, which is our JavaScript array that gets returned from load query. And then inside the template, the pound data represents each individual item as we iterate through the array. So here the items are going to be the list item type, and the way we get the field values from that is use the getItem method, passing in the name of the field. So in our template, this will be replaced by the value of the title field, and the greater than sign here indicates that we want to HTML encode the value. So if there was script somewhere in here, this would be rendered as text. So for each item, we're going to show the title in bold, and then we're going to put a break tag, and then we're going to show the units in stock, and then the unit price. So with our template added, now what we need to do is take the data that's returned from our camel query and bind it to the template. The code for this is pretty simple. So what we'll do is replace this code here with this code here. So we're going to use jQuery to go get a reference to the template. So notice products template is the selector there, and that's going to select this guy right here, which is this entire script tag, script element. And then we're going to call the render method from JSRender, passing in a reference to the object that holds the results from our query. That will generate the HTML that we're then going to inject into our paragraph tag right down here. So with that done, let's just hit F5. And now we can click the data binding button. Oh, and we get an error. Object doesn't support. Oh, okay. I forgot one step. So we're getting here, object does not support property or method render. And the reason is because I brought in the library to our project, but what I didn't do was add a script tag for that. So just going back up to our project here. And then right here, I just need to add in a script tag for JSRender. So scripts, and then this should be jsrender.js. Now let's hit F5, click the data binding button, and there we go. We get the title of our site, and then we get the data returned from our camel query bound into the template. Now over here in our manage code example, I've added a new button and I've copied the code from the last example. And the only thing I've changed is at the end, I just write out the count of the results. I'm not using the row limit here. So let's hit F5, and you can see there's 12 results coming back. So the results are coming back in this items object. This is a list item collection. And then each item within the collection will be a list item. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the data out of these list item objects and push them into a simple data structure just using dictionary entry out of the .NET framework. So here's the code for that. I'll create a new list of dictionary entry, basically key value pairs. And then for each of the list item objects, I was going to create a new dictionary entry with the key being the ID of the item and the value being the title of the item. So once I've done that, then I can just use standard Windows Forms data binding. So I can say here the results list box dot data source is equal to the list data object. And then the results list box, the results list box dot display member is equal to the value property, and the results list box dot value member is equal to the key, right? So this will be the set of the set of names, and this will be the set of IDs. All right, so now if we hit F5 and then click the data binding button, you can see we get back all of the different titles. And if I was to add a selected index change or whatever here, I could actually get the item ID for this and then go out and do something like get the details for that particular item. All right, so far this module, we focused on retrieving information from SharePoint. In the next couple sections, we're going to take a look at how to update or add information. We're going to create a list, we're going to create some list items, and then we're going to update those list items.